Hello Stats class, this is a question from your 6.4 homework, and this is a question asking us to look at the standard deviation for a population and then the standard deviation for a sample. So this is the population, okay, 1, 410. So I'm going to put that in here into Excel. Excel really helps on this particular question, this type of question, where we have to do a lot of comparisons. Alright, and then it wants us to take samples of size 2, and these are all the different samples we can take. And if you count it up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different samples that we can take. Alright, so what it's wanting us to do is, part 1 says find the population standard deviation. So the easiest thing to do there is just in Excel, just type in equals and then start typing standard deviation. And then you want this one, the standard deviation with a P for population. And then you just highlight your data set. And there's your standard deviation. Let's just run to 3 places, so 3.742. Alright, and then it says find the standard deviation of each of these 9 samples. Okay, so what we're going to do there, I'm just going to write them all out. 1, 1, 1, 4, 1, 10, each one of those. Okay, so if you look, I've got all the different samples that I got here, 1, 1, 1, 4, 1, 10. I've got them left to right, but just notice what this is. It's just population is 1, 4, 10. So 1, 4, 10 is right there, and then it repeats, and then it repeats. And then if you notice, the top number is just the 1, the 4, the 10. It's just every single combination of 2 of these things that you can get at a time. So what we're going to do is the same thing. We're going to do, this time it wants sample standard deviations. So I'm going to press equals, and I'm going to start typing standard deviation again. This time I want S, the sample standard deviation. So I click there, and I just highlight both of those 2 numbers. Alright, and then I'm going to just drag that to the right. And if you notice, every time it's the standard deviation of the things above it. So this is C7, C8. So that's these 2 numbers, D7, D8. Alright, so it's the same numbers, or same operation just all the way through. So the what it's going to ask me next is what values show up. Notice there's only 4 different values here. There's 0 is the smallest. There is 2.1, so this one right here. It's only showing a couple decimal places because I have the cells so small to fit in the window. Okay, but 2.12, and then there's the 4.24, and then finally the 6.4. Okay, and then the probability. Notice there's 9 of these things. Okay, there's 9 total. It says it right there, 9 different samples. The probability that 0 occurs, there's 1, 2, 3 zeros. So there's 3 out of 9. It says simplify your fraction, so 3 out of 9 reduces to 1/3. Alright, the 2 occurs 1, 2 times, so that's 2 out of 9. Okay, remember there's 9 samples, so the denominator is 9 unless it reduces. The 4.2 occurs 1, 2 times, so 2 out of 9. And then the 6 occurs 1, 2 times, so 2 out of 9. Alright, and then this should add up to 1. 2 out of 9, 2 out of 9 is 4 out of 9, 6 out of 9, and then this was 1/3 is 3 out of 9. So 6 out of 9 plus 3 out of 9 is 9 out of 9, or 1. So there's our probability distribution. Alright, find the mean of the sampling distribution. Find the mean of these numbers. So what I could do there is just highlight all this row right here, and then let me pull it down so you can see it. Up here in this corner where the sum button is, if I click down, I can just click average. So there's the average, 2.828. It wants to round it to 3 places, so 2.828. Alright, and then it wants to know, this last question is about how these compare to one another. Alright, the mean of these sample standard deviations, these that we got right here, the mean of those was not where is it? Yeah, it does not target the population standard deviation. So the mean of these 2.828 is not equal to 3.742, which is the population deviation. So these don't target the population standard deviation, and they're therefore biased estimators. Alright, so that's how you go through this problem. Excel makes it the easiest it can possibly be. You can do it with your TI calculator. It just would take longer than it would with Excel. And it would also take a little bit longer if you did it with StatCrunch. If you don't have Excel, you may be saying, I don't have Excel. Well, you can do this in Sheets. If you have access to Google Sheets, delete that. If you have access to Google Sheets, it does the same thing. If you don't have access to Google Sheets, you can just create a Google account and get access to Google Sheets through Google Drive. But anyway, same thing. You type in your data, you type in equals, and then same thing, start typing standard deviation. And then they have standard deviation based on the population. So STDEVP. So that's what we did up here. And then you highlight your data. So these three numbers. So there, let me move it out a little bit. There's that same number that we got right there. All right, and then these standard deviation for the samples. Standard deviation right there, it tells you right there it's for the based on a sample. Now I just highlight those two. All right, hit the 0 and then drag that thing across. And the same thing, so it's working the same way. It's just doing the same thing. It's getting the same values that we got before with Excel, and it's basically the same operators, the same things you have to type in to get it, and we can see those same numbers. Okay, so either way, with Sheets, you can do it. With Excel, you can do it. If you have access to Excel, then that's great. That's the one I typically use for problems like this, where we have to repeatedly do the same operations, because we can do that drag feature. But Sheets is an alternative that's free, that you can get through Google Drive if you have access to that.